What everyday behaviors quietly show a lack of real love in a relationship? Logical current 2381. When you start censoring yourself, holding back emotions or excitement because you know they'll dismiss it. Lyme geologist, oh man, this hurts to read. I know that feeling. Larry Krappenschitz. Or you tell them about things that are important to you, and they forget all about it. I don't want to get out. Orby, what's important to you is rarely important to someone else. Someone who actually listens and hears what they don't care about is the rarest person of all. One Critcher. The guy I'm talking to now, I make it clear the things that are important to him are important to me. Even if it's not a priority, it still matters. I make effort to include or inquire or remember these things. I'm like that in general with someone I'm serious about. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be a quality that my partners see as rare, as I'm usually left for someone else. Gloria Moria. Not paying attention to your so when you're supposed to spend time together. Puzzle-headed Owl 7664. IDK, who needs to hear this, but streaming and scrolling is rarely quality time. Mouse Cheese 7. Thank you fucking wish my partner understood this in the start of our relationship. Took so long for them to see it, and so many arguments could have been avoided. Music and sex. Actually, this is BS. Some people are okay with just being together. How to do disagreed. My wife and I usually spend some time after work and cooking, rouse, eating dinner together, catching up on our days. And then afterwards, we spend the rest of our night watching something and scrolling on our phones. It's okay to just enjoy each other's company while coexisting and scrolling. We spend a lot of time together. We're also comfortable with silence LOL. Different strokes and whatnot. This is a squirrel. Not helping out. Ever. Once you've expressed that something bothers you and or you need help, and they just ignore it and repeat the behavior, they don't really love you. The new 13. I don't live with my boyfriend, but my roommate is lazy and selfish. They've completely stopped doing the dishes. My boyfriend has gotten an earful about my frustrations. So you know what he did when he last came over? He washed the dishes, he insisted. Just so that I'm not the only one who ever does them. Altruistic Tomato, 154. He's a keeper Freya so sweet, that's someone who really cares about you. Commercial Board 6680. Taking each other for granted. It creeps into a lot of relationships, so it's something that has to be noticed and corrected before you become strangers. Little things like not thanking someone for picking up groceries or making supper. Duffy-do, I feel like it can creep into other personal issues, like working on yourself. I've seen many relationships that within 6 months, both sides stopped working out or trying new things. This usually turns a relationship boring and affects the satisfaction of both sides. That's the classic, I've used to be a lot more active and outgoing. Crazy Dog 42 exactly. And then comes the realization, you're not the same person I started dating. Commercial Board 80. Good point. Jumpy Presence 7029. When you get hurt and they don't ask what happened. Are you okay? Or show any concern for the pain you're in. They just act inconvenienced at best. Batman and Ruben. Conversely, when they are consistently hurt, sick, otherwise needing to be tended or excused to, whenever it's time for them to show up and support, or celebrate you, or do anything that requires effort. Luljet Fuel. I had a partner like this once. She had some serious but temporary health problems when we met, and I was constantly helping her out with fixing things around her house, running extra errands, etc. I even moved in for 3 weeks after the big surgery and took care of everything, even helping with showers, only bouncing back to my house a few times to keep it in decent shape. Fast forward 9 months, she's living a normal life again. On some meds, but everything is managed. She's going out with friends on the regular, working full-time, taking care of her house, etc. And then I broke my foot. Not a huge deal, but she did literally nothing to help me, and acted like it was a huge inconvenience that I even asked for simple things like, hey, I'm not supposed to drive on these meds. Can you take me to my doctor's appointment next week on your day off? RVA Meg lack of interest I their lives. Mean humor at their expense. Baboon tears. Yesterday I was chatting with an acquaintance, and she told me her husband makes fun of her weight, showing her photos of herself when she was thin and how she is now. She mentioned that he used that joke that circulates online. What you ordered versus what you got. She also said that he makes these kinds of jokes to motivate her to do something. I didn't want to intrude, but those kinds of jokes are not okay. RVA Meg. That is so hateful. Humiliation isn't a motivator. I think you may need to get involved. Hookers ins 06. Wow, that's horrible. Miss Labrat01. Not really listening when their partner is talking. Frank the Cow IDK. I genuinely try to keep up with what my husband is saying for as long as I can, but he just talks so freaking much. Like he can talk for hours if not interrupted. I just zone out every time rather sane. That can also mean depression though. It's like you hear everything, it just won't get registered in the memory. The real Jack Reynolds. Also ADHD. My daughter will sometimes interrupt or not listen because she's trying to keep a topic in her mind, so she doesn't forget it. Pantagruel's mommy. Not greeting each other in a meaningful way when one of you gets home, or not saying goodbye when one of you leaves. Syrium Unhinged. Oh God. The not saying goodbye when you leave the house. I know it isn't the same dynamic, but I remember when I lived with my mom, her husband, and his son, and the son would just leave without saying bye to his dad. And I knew they hadn't communicated beforehand that he would be going somewhere. It was weirdly painful to witness. I'm sure his dad didn't notice, and I suppose this is normal for them. But my God, it made me and my mom uncomfortable. Mad Maxine. I've learned that a lot of men get to operate in a world where they don't have to announce their arrivals and departures. They just up and leave when they feel like it. As women are typically more likely to be carrying the invisible load, packing up the kids, yada yada, I think we see it so much more. Plus, as women, we are taught that we have to mention our plans for our own safety when leaving the home. I think it's deeply conditioned in a lot of ways, though certainly not excusable behavior in the long run. So unless you were raised to communicate well, it seems to be a skill that needs more development for these folks.